Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast where sports and convos collide. I am your host, Kobe Turner, a.k.a. The Cobra.
It's your boy.
I'm your other host, Fredo.
Yeah, what's happening?
What's up?
What's happening, fellas?
Ain't
Man,
nothing
much, man. What's good with you folks?
We got that man in the building.
Yeah, look, I don't want to waste a lot of time with a lot of small talk because we got a special guest in the building that I would like to introduce. Former All-World wide receiver from Illinois University. And then he was a former All-Pro wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know him. We love him. Brandon Lloyd.
B. Lizzo, my boy.
Thanks for having me on, fellas.
No cap. Oh, yeah.
We're here.
Oh, yeah.
We're here at the No Cap podcast.
We here at the No
yes,
Cap,
sir.
baby.
What's up, Bert?
Welcome to the show.
I've been seeing the clips on the gram. I'm like, man, dog, I got to get on the show.
Yes, sir.
Man, we appreciate you, man. We thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for watching and just listening and subscribing to the channel, man. We really appreciate you, bro. Really do. With that being said,
happy to.
With that being said, first and foremost, how's the family? How's it? How you doing out there in Colorado, man?
Man, doing well. I have a senior and a junior in high school.
Wow.
So my little guys who you saw, and they were just little teeny tiny little guys.
Yeah.
They're just so big now, and
awesome.
They're playing on the basketball team. They don't play football.
Okay.
They're on the basketball team. Recreationally, not incredibly competitive.
That's okay.
That's right.
I mean,
I don't think it's okay,
but
can they beat you yet?
Nah.
Hey, that's why he stay looking so young. He ain't gonna let that happen.
Right.
On the youth, baby.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm gonna keep winning as long as I can, and that's the thing. It's like I've never let them win at anything. So when they win,
right.
they will have earned it.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, things are well. Things are well in Colorado. Getting the boys up and out. I'm well into my second phase of life. Post NFL. I'm on the board of two nonprofits out here.
Wow.
One is the school that my kids go to. It's a small independent school out here, Kent, Denver.
Yes, sir.
And so on the governance committee, making sure that these young people are getting a exemplar high school, college preparatory experience. I sit on the DEI committee. I'm on the Buildings and Grounds committee. And part of that buildings and grounds is, we're about to start a big fundraiser to upgrade our facilities. Denver's been around for 101 years. We have some buildings that have been on the grounds for 50. And so we want to create a wellness environment for all the students, not just the athletes on campus. So that's a big initiative. The second project that I'm on is Denver Tennis Park. And so we're bringing equitable access to tennis to the underserved communities here in Denver. And,
Wow.
so I volunteer all summer at Abraham Lincoln High School, which is Southeast Denver. So we're in the community. We bring the young people out. The Denver Tennis Park is a 501c3. So all the court space and court rentals, 70% of those proceeds go towards programming and scholarships for young people to have equitable access to tennis. So those are my two projects: getting the boys up and running, get them off, to a nice future. And that's my life.
Nice, bro. You look like you still hit the gym. You still in it? You still hitting that iron, huh?
Look like he can still play.
Yeah.
You know the routine. Hey, we got quarters today. You know the routine.
It's on. It's on.
Nice.
I just
Nice.
I feel better when I work out. It actually
sir.
hurts when I don't train.
When I don't,
And
right.
Being that I've been working out since I was in 7th grade, I mean, I cannot not work out. And
sir.
just in playing tennis, golf, weight training, running on the treadmill, doing some martial arts to make sure I'm being functional and putting all that weight training to use. So it's just my lifestyle now.
Awesome.
B. Lloyd, I gotta see you on that tennis court. I don't think you want this smoke.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying.
Look,
I'm booking tickets to Denver right now.
Hey, B,
Come on now.
he was nice, B. He was nice, but he fell in love. He went inside and started doing that J. He got that jumper, man, and it was. He never went back. He never went back, man.
Yeah,
You
I'm
already
coming
know.
off golf season, so I'm moving indoor tennis now that the
Nice.
snow's here in Denver. So I'll be right in give me about a month and a half. I'll be right.
Okay.
There you go. So, B. Lloyd, let's start off a little bit, man, for our viewers and our listeners. Just give us a little bit of background about, Mr. Lloyd, Brandon Lloyd, a little bit about where you're from. Also, how you started off, in as far as in the youth sports, and what led you to go to the University of Illinois. How'd you end up there?
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
I'm the last of 7. When my father passed away, going on 2 years now, my parents have been married for 53 years. So I grew up in incredibly loving environment. A lot of people, when they talk about being the last of 7, it's like, man, that must have been hard. I was like, no, I grew up real spoiled.
Right.
There's a 17-year age difference between me and the oldest. And
Wow.
so when I was coming up in middle school, they were in and out of college and had jobs. So it's like, here's $20. You want to wash my car? You come mow my lawn. Here's $20. You mow my lawn. You want to go to see an R-rated movie? You want to dry stick? You need something from the mall?
I got you.
So anything that my parents couldn't get for me, my older sisters would come in and do it.
Nice.
Yeah. So last of 7, incredibly supportive environment. My heroes growing up were my mother and father, particularly my father. But just on my mother's side of the family, my mother's side of the family is from Murfreesboro, Arkansas. My dad's family originated in Alabama, but they migrated to Kansas City. But my mom's side of the family migrated to Kansas City after the Second World War, when her father came back and said, Purple Heart recipient, I've been fighting all over the world for this country, and come back, and the best thing I can be is a farmhand, which is one step above a slave. Yep. So he packed the family up and moved them to the closest place, the closest major city where Black folk could own land, and that was Kansas City.
Wow.
Even though technically it was below the Mason-Dixon line, Black folk could own land. So he bought a house there. And the reason I tell that story, just because it's top of mind, is because my mom's mother just passed away at 102 years old.
Get out of here.
And what's so
powerful
about that? Yeah, salute to that. And what's so powerful about that is she died in the same house that grandfather bought.
Oh man,
I mean,
awesome.
it's just so
I mean,
powerful that she was able
wow.
to. They were able to move up there, you know, in the late '40s, and then to keep that house in the family, and then Mama Annie, her mother passed away in that
Yeah.
house, grandfather passed away in the house, and
That's,
grandmother passed away in the house. So it's just powerful. Just you know, just a really close knit, powerful family.
That's what's up.
Folk that really achieved a lot in life,
okay.
and so and that's where I came from.
Yeah. Did your dad put you into sports, or was it your older siblings, or who got you involved in the youth sports in the Kansas City area?
My dad. you know,
Nice.
I was a pretty wild and rambunctious youngster, and and so
Weren't we all?
and so my dad was like,
Oh
"Man, you're gonna
boy.
either need to box or play football, one or the other."
Huh. I'm like,
And my dad's a Golden Glove boxer when he was coming up, and so he's
okay.
like, so he always had me out in the back shadow boxing. He's like, "All right,
Nice.
you getting in
Nice.
trouble. You got in trouble one too many times in school. You got two options." And so I started in
Come on
flag
out back.
football.
Nice.
Right. And so I started off in flag football in the third grade,
Okay.
and
Yes, sir.
that was how sports all started for me. And
Nice.
the legend has it, the very first flag football game in the Blue Springs football league, I
Okay.
take the kickoff back for a touchdown. The defense, the 3 and out, they punt it, take the punt back for a touchdown. And I was saying to myself, I was like, man, I like this football, just like the reaction from the crowd and the
Yeah.
attention that I was getting from it. And it really helped me, shift my priorities from being so much of a troublemaker in school to saying, all right, I see a future in this. I can,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I've been reading the Sports Illustrateds and studying these athletes, and ever since I could read in the late '80s,
Yeah.
and I started studying this stuff, and I was like, all right, so college, professionals, all right. Well, let me just start with getting out of Blue Springs, Missouri. Let me just start with getting out of Kansas City. What do I need to do? I need to get good
Okay.
grades. I need to perform well. I need to stay out of trouble. And then that'd be my first step to get out from under my parents. And so that was just my plan on getting out of Kansas City.
Nice. Nice.
So why Illinois?
Great question.
So growing up, I was a big ham. All the family gatherings, anytime the camcorder would come out, I'll give you a monologue on Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, or I'd be freestyling or dancing. I'm doing something on the camcorder.
Right. Right.
And then when I was in elementary school, I started in the choir, and so
Okay.
I sang in choir all the way through my junior year in high school, and then in middle school, I started doing the student-run journalism club.
Wow.
So I
Never
was
knew
like,
that.
man, yeah. So I was like, man, I know I want to be in entertainment. I just love getting up on Saturday mornings and watching Inside the NBA with Ahmad Rashad. I just
Wow.
loved it. I love James Brown on the television talking football on Fox, and the interviews. I love Bryant Gumbel. Just like all these, I just loved the sports journalism. So that's all the schools I picked from, Koba. That's all I picked from. So
Oh.
when I was looking at colleges, um, my oldest sister Denise, she's in higher education. She's currently the vice president of Winona University, but she's already
Wow.
always been in the higher education system. And so she said to me my senior year, I was kind of going back and forth. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And she's like, Brandon, college is a use you situation. They're going to use you and make millions of dollars. And in return, you need to
Facts.
use them and get a degree that's going to be worth something when you get out of it. Because the
Nice.
odds are you probably won't make it to the NFL. And so I was like,
Yes, sir.
all right. So the only schools that I selected from were schools with journalism programs. So and they had all came because in high school, by the time I went through high school, I was a 7'3" high jumper. I was
Damn.
13'7", 110 hurdler. I was long jumping 25'2". I
You was
mean, it
dunking.
was
You was
just
dunking. I
incredibly,
know you was dunking, catching oops and everything. I seen
Damn.
that with my
you
own
know,
two eyes.
dunking. It was just, I was invited to train for the Olympic team, to train for the Pan Am Games my senior year in high school. So it was it was a fun time because just had boxes of offers. I mean, they came from everywhere. So I could have easily picked a school to go to train to be an NFL athlete. And the colleges will call from the SEC, ACC. Man, I know we don't have a journalism program, but will you please consider coming here? And I'm like, thank you for the offer, but I'm only considering schools with journalism programs. And in
So what was, if you don't
1999,
mind,
Illinois was the number 3 in the nation.
Right. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but what was your final two, D? What was your final two schools? Illinois and what else?
Syracuse.
It was really only Illinois, and I'll tell you the second reason for that, because there was some incredible. The University of Missouri in 1999 was incredible. They had the only student-run. They had the only student-run national news affiliate that was run by students. It was amazing, their journalism program. The reason I wasn't excited about the University of Missouri is because they would take a 2 or 3 star Dallas player out of Texas and played him over a 4-star player out of Missouri. So they were valuing players from the southern states over local talent. So local cats was not selecting to go to the University of Missouri. I went there. I was interested in the journalism program, and then I just wasn't willing to look past that. That and another part. Northwestern was really high, but in 1999 they was in point shaving scandal. So I was like, I didn't want to go to a school and be participating in that. The UCLA, which was ideal. It was ideal being in Hollywood with what I was interested in and being in track and field. I mean, decorated track program, football team, incredible. It was just too far. Now, the second component to why I selected the University of Illinois is because at the schools that I went to, so when I went on my 4 official visits, I went to Illinois, I went to Missouri, I went to K-State, and I went to Oklahoma. At those three schools, other than Illinois, there was too much racism. See, as you can imagine, I'm telling your listeners because you know this. So, when you go on recruiting trips, it's intentionally segregated. So they'll put a black student athlete with a black recruit, high school recruit, to host them on campus for the recruiting trips, and they put the white ones with the white ones, right?
Of course.
And, just to eliminate any confusion that could possibly come up on a recruiting trip, right? It's a safe bet. And so when I went on those 3 trips, they said, man, we don't deal with them white insert racial slur.
Right.
We don't deal with them white. We ain't going over there and kicking it with them white. On 3 trips. And I was saying to myself, I was like, damn, this isn't the environment I want to be in.
Not at all.
And when I was going through the recruiting process, the athletic director at Blue Springs High School called me in the office one time. He's like, man, Illinois is calling because they want to talk to your elementary school principal, Mr. Barnhart. They want to talk to 3 or 4 of your school teachers. They're talking to me, and obviously they're talking to the head coach. So in my mind, I'm like, damn, Illinois is really doing their research on me. They really
find out about you as
me.
A person. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And are and looking for an investment in me.
Yeah.
And so that was the second component on why I chose the University of Illinois. I went on that recruiting trip. Man, I really hit it off with, one of the cats in my recruiting class, just so happened to be white, like I did everywhere I went, because we all knew about each other. And I was like, man, I want to hang out with Kenny Boyle from Springfield, Illinois. He's a tight end. As you can imagine, he's a white dude. And him and my parents got along. I'm like, man, I want to kick it with him. And my host, Muhammad Abdullah, out of Barnegat, New Jersey, he's like, all right, we'll kick it with them. Sure enough, we kicked it with them. We kicked it with the tight ends, all white folks. Then we
Everybody.
went to the Q Dog after set on Illinois campus.
Yeah.
I mean, we hit everything. We hit it all. We went to the volleyball party. I mean, it was everything. So, and that's why I liked Illinois. You know, Illinois in 1999 had the largest Greek system in the nation. So we had every single black fraternity and sorority. We had all the white ones, all the Jewish ones. So it was when I selected that school and I was seeing what was going on there, I was like, man, it's got everything I could want to be engaged in socially, and it's got the Power Five. Man, I come here. It's got my degree, top in my degree. So if I'm good enough. Man, they found Jerry Rice at Mississippi Valley A&M. Swag. They found him. So if I'm going to a Power 5 school and I ball out, the NFL will find me if that's the case. Question. So that was my mentality going to college.
Yeah. Brandon, question. How was it playing for Coach Ron Turner at Illinois?
I mean, the man offered me a scholarship my sophomore year in high school. He wanted me bad. You know, he wanted me, and the school had what I wanted to, what I was into, had the school was offering what I wanted. So, I mean, he wanted to throw me the ball all the time. You know, he thought that I could help the team win, and he really believed in me. And it was just we had a really good coach-player relationship, and he trusted me, you know, to handle business on the field. He was worried about me off the field because I was still squirrely.
That's when you was B Lizzle. You know, that's when you was B Lizzle. They don't know about B Lizzle.
Boy, get out there, get wild.
Hey, but, so B Lloyd, let me ask you this.
Good relationship.
Right. So let me ask you this, B Lloyd. So when did you come to the realization that, you know what, I can play in the NFL? I can really play in the NFL. I can really do this.
Yeah, you know, so my freshman year on campus, you know, I was newcomer of the year. You know, I broke the receiving record for most receiving yards. We went to a bowl game for the first time in 5 years or so. Yep. We stomped Virginia out in the Micron PC Bowl in Fort Lauderdale. Yep. I mean, we was on one. And then that summer, going into my sophomore, or speaking before that, I got third in the indoor Big Ten track and field because that was my agreement. All the schools I was looking at was going to let me be a two-sport athlete. I was going to run track and play football, go on a football scholarship and run track. And Illinois honored that. So after my freshman season, went right into indoor, third in the Big Ten and 60-meter hurdles, third in high jump. We won the Big Ten indoor championship my first year. So I was a newcomer of the year. Ron Turner on my right side, Gary Winkley on my right side, the track coach and the football coach there, accepting the award for academics and athletics on campus. So I was really off and running, and then I fractured my femur that summer. Wow. Horsing around in the off season. So I was redshirted that second year. I came back in 2001. We won the Big Ten. I dropped 1,000 yards on them. And while we was out after the bowl game, Ron Turner called me in his office and he's like, Brandon, I heard you got an agent. I said, oh shit. I said, hell no. I would never get an agent. I would never do that. I got to finish college. I'm the only one in my family without a college degree. I'm here for school. I would never think of leaving school early. And he was like, oh, all right. I was just checking because, you know, the scouts is out there. You know, I always see the scouts out there. And, you know, I'm just doing my thing. I'm just being me. Right. And so he's like, well, the scouts were saying that you had an agent because I was eligible. So it's 3 years in school or 21. So I was 3 years in. I played 2 seasons, so I was eligible. Right. And so when I left the office, I was like, oh, shit, I'm good enough. I didn't, because before I didn't even think. I was just balling. Yeah. Right. I didn't even think about it. I was going to school. I was being an exemplary student athlete. I was getting passing grades. I was performing on the field. I was having a good time.
And you was mossing folks.
I was just having a college experience. And then that happened. I was like, oh, shit. Oh, it's on now. and so the another agreement that I had at Illinois was my third year in school, I would get an internship at a major news outlet. This is around the time when the Score was popular. ESPN radio had just dropped and satellite radio was dropping. And so I was like, I want to go to Chicago and have my summer internship at the Score, and I would get
Credits.
a study credit. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so Ron Turner's like, all right, Chicago's a little too far. So we have a little bit better of a network down in St. Louis. I'm sending you down to St. Louis. So I went to Fox Sports Net St. Louis, and I was covering the St. Louis Rams, their workouts. And so I'm out there with my media credential. I'm out there on my, independent study, busting down beta tapes, creating highlight reels, doing sizzle reels for the different sports. And so I'm out there covering the Rams, and I get a whistle, and it's Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. They're like, come over here. I'm looking at my host like, what am I doing? He's like, man, you better get over there. I'm like, I thought it was going to be an NCAA violation.
Right.
He's like, man, you better go over there. This is part of your job. You got a media credential. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
all right. So I walk over there, and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt invite me to lunch. And so
Wow.
I go in at Earth City. So I go and sit in between after the practice. I sit at lunch table with them, and they laid it all out for me. They said, man, you need to put the gloves on, because that's why I was wearing tape on my fingers.
Right.
Like Tim Brown.
Yeah.
They're like, man,
Right.
you need to put them gloves on, because every ball you drop, that's money.
Woo.
Here's some drills that you're gonna go through. They put these hula hoop. They show me these hula hoop drills. They'll show me these hand catching drills on the jugs. They show me some quick footwork. And so after I finished up that internship, man, I came back with these drills. The receivers was like, man, what you doing? I said, man, this is shit Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt told me to do. They're like, man, we're doing that too. And so that, they really put that mindset in my mind where it's
Had
like,
you
man,
locked in.
get the yards.
Yep.
Yeah, you need to go be trying to get 75 to 80 yards a game. That's all you
Yeah.
really need. You
Lock
need to
in.
put up the touchdowns.
Yeah.
You need to catch the rock. Lock me in. And so
Yeah.
that was really what helped me through that last year. And then I ended up declaring for the NFL draft.
Wow.
That's
Damn,
awesome.
B, that's a great. Oh man, B, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn, why you didn't tell
Torrey Holt
me when
and
I
Isaac
used to go
Bruce.
pick up the damn? Wow.
Yeah, well, that's how I built my game. So that's how I built my
Right.
game. That's why I moved like I moved in the NFL, because I was small.
right.
I needed to have releases. I needed to be fast, and I need to be explosive. I need to do other things other than just, going up and mossing cats. I need to
Right.
have like some superior routes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you was known for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Fredro, you got something for him? You got
No,
something
go,
for
go,
me?
wait, Cole. Okay.
No, I was gonna say, so now you in NFL mode. You got your mind set. You going to the next level, the big show. How did you approach getting ready for the draft?
Great question. Where'd you
You
go?
know so I picked my agent, and my mindset was I want a super agent. I don't want
Okay.
a regional agent. Because
Right.
some of the players,
Lee Steinberg.
obviously Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce have presented me some agents. Marshall Falk, presented me some agents. And while those guys was ballers, they was the only guys that those agents really had. See, I
Okay.
wanted a super agent who had.
You wanted somebody who had a
top
firm. You wanted-
quarterbacks, top
Yeah.
top wide receivers who represented GMs. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking in my mind. So I signed with David Dunn, who used to be under the infamous Lee Steinberg.
Steinberg.
Jerry
Oh,
Rice
yeah.
was based after.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so I signed with him because he had my college quarterback, Kurt Kittner. And so Kurt's mom called my mom and was like, man, we really like this guy. I mean, David Dunn showed up to the house. He's like barefoot. He wears flip-flops, walks around his
Right.
office barefoot. It's just super
Yeah.
agent. Incredibly awesome at what he was doing. And so I signed with him, and he was based out in Newport, out in Orange County, California.
Okay.
So just out there working out,
Working out.
it was,
Gotcha.
it was all right. I ended up catching the flu, flying back from Cali to Indianapolis for the combine. I was invited to the combine, and I ended up running a 4.7 at the combine. not my explosive normal self. And just being in college, I was incredibly malnourished in college. I was eating, double cheeseburgers and, it wasn't, and drinking Gatorades. It wasn't awesome. My preparation. So I was just trying to get on a proper food and health regimen in that short a time for the draft. For the combine, it was impossible. So even though I came back in my pro day and represented like I should, ran a 4.44 40 and lit up the workouts, I was able to bounce back, but it still wasn't able to propel me into the first day pick. So I was drafted in the 4th round to the 49ers.
Wow.
Okay, where were you expected to go?
All the projections had me going first day, so nothing later than the 3rd round. So late 3rd round, and what I always say about the draft is the only person happy in the draft is the first overall pick. Everybody else think they should be drafted higher.
Yes. Right.
So
100%.
I was no different.
100%.
I was incredibly pissed off and upset. But the 49ers called the next day, and Eric Yarber, the receiver coach, called me and was like, "Man, I can't believe it. I can't believe you slipped this far. I mean, it's not good for you, but it's good for us." he's like, "But we're just so happy to have you." And so that's what made it better, is to have a team that actually wanted me. Dennis Erickson called and was excited to have me on the team, and so that was the start.
Wow.
Who were some of the receivers that were selected before you in that draft?
Oh man, the draft was beast mode. So think about this combine. I'm in the combine. I'm probably 173 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Johnson, Charles Johnson,
Miami.
Anquan Bolden, Taylor Jacobs. I mean, it was one of the more beast mode classes of wide receivers.
Well, yeah, Andre Johnson and what you call him, Taylor Jacobs.
Because we drafted Taylor Jacobs, I think.
He's terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, but these dudes they went to big schools and they was physical.
Right,
specimens.
they went to bigger schools, right? And they put up
but
numbers,
they were specimens. Anquan Bolden, beast. Andre and Anquan was beast.
I said
Charles,
I didn't say anything.
I
didn't say nothing about them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Charles got rest his soul. He was a bust, but he had substance issues and just wasn't quite motivated. And so the reason why being drafted, for your listeners, the reason why being drafted high is important for a player is, one, you have job security. Man, them 1st round picks get chance after chance after chance after chance after chance. Man, they really got to screw up to get, exited out of the league. So you get job security, one. And the second thing you get is financial security, right? Yeah. Because anything can happen out there. We know that. 100% chance of injury playing football. So you get some of that financial security. So that's why it's such a big deal. But, going there, and let me tell you about the receivers who was in San Francisco. Think about this.
That's why I was about to ask you, who was in San Francisco at the time?
T.O.
know it.
T.O. Yeah, T.O.'s there, and this cat Ty Streets, who was out of Michigan.
Yeah,
and then this cat out of Tennessee named Cedric Wilson.
Yeah.
And then they drafted me, and then they converted Arnez Battle out of Notre Dame to a wide receiver, to H-back / special teams cat. So that was the receiver room.
That was the receiving core.
And
wow.
Yeah.
Who was your quarterback? Garcia?
Yeah, we had Garcia. We had, and then this cat Tim Rattay, who was backing him up.
Yeah. Trash.
Yeah, but that organization was in disarray. The DeBartolo family, or the DeBartolo had just lost the team because of the gambling ring. And so in the will, the team went to his sister, Denise DeBartolo, and her husband, John York. And so they was new into this ownership thing. So it was just like debauchery. They had got themselves in so much salary cap trouble. That's why they couldn't keep Mariucci. The coach got wrapped up in the salary cap. So, I mean, and the players just love Mooch. And he had this like old school way that he kept the team together with the old school players and the new school players. And so it was a neat blend of of old school, and I was just such a splash of new. It was like a brush of cold air in the room.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I come in with a Burberry do-rag with the diamonds, the chains on, Burberry top, you know, like the Millennium Urkel in this piece. You know, H2 Hummer, lip,
I'm about to say you had the Hummer.
He
drop
couldn't tell
top,
him shit.
drop top, Audi, rookie dog, rookie.
Hey,
You know,
My boy.
you know,
That's my boy.
out here,
That's my boy.
you know, out here wilding.
Wow.
And
oh,
Wow.
okay,
getting
hey,
busy,
Brandon,
though.
we gonna cut to the chase, Brandon, because like I said, you had some spectacular seasons. I think I want to say it was your rookie season. I think you had a spectacular season, right? I don't know if it was your rookie season or the second season, season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was spectacular. Like I said, man, you was mossing everybody, and I mean, we gonna fast forward from that, and then and I don't know if you got traded to Washington or you was a free agent, because I don't know if San Francisco wanted to pay you or what have you, and then right, you're in Washington. I was very happy about the signing. I was like, oh my gosh, and then we signed Adam Archuleta as well, right, the safety from St. Louis Rams. And then all of a sudden, we don't utilize you. Explain that to the viewers and listeners, your experience in Washington.
Yeah. So it was my third year. So I started my second year in the NFL and then went into my third year, and we actually played the NFC East. That third year in San Francisco, lit them up, lit up Dallas, lit them all up. Philly, you're just talking about the one hand catches on Philly.
Yeah, the one you snagged like that. Yeah, you snagged like
Lito
that.
Shepherd. Yeah. Oh yeah. All of it.
Yeah.
You know, second and third year. And so how I always described that was, see, this was the last year of restricted free agency in the National Football League. So for your listeners, as a rookie, you would sign a 3-year deal, and then you'd have this 4th year of restricted free agency. So it was almost like a team option. So the team would put a tender on a player, meaning they say, all right, if you want this player, you got to give us the round he was drafted in. And so, and then you have to match the salary that we put on the player.
On the player. Right.
What I always say is Washington traded for me. I wasn't traded to Washington. Washington traded for me. They gave up 2 4th-round picks, and I got a blockbuster deal. So I really put into work to earn to be there. And so now that you're all starting to see the dysfunction that was going on with the ownership, that's all that was what was happening there. So it wasn't necessarily what was going on, what was the toxicity that was happening in the front office, but it was the ignorance in the front office that had inadequate coaching the product that was going out on the field. So Al Saunders had fooled the front office into thinking he was the architect for the greatest show on turf, when reality, he was just a receiver coach.
Wow.
See, so when we got to that team, you know, it was just the coaches weren't able to develop the players. So yeah, we had a bunch of talent on that team, but they couldn't develop the offensive line. They couldn't develop the quarterback. They couldn't develop Jason Campbell into something. They couldn't develop, they couldn't coach Mark Brunell into getting the targets consistently. They couldn't coach the defense into playing cohesively. And so it was just caught up in that. And for me, I was trying to bust. For me, I'm like, man, if I got a blockbuster deal, man, I want 2-3 more of these, because I'm good enough. So I'm not going to sit here, and here's what Joe Gibbs would tell me, man, just take the money and be quiet, Brandon. Just take the money and be quiet. And I'm like, no, because if I be quiet and take this money, y'all going to shit on me. And then I still don't get the ball. So I'm going to stand up for myself. Fuck you.
That's right. That's right.
Now, you can cut me, but I can go get it somewhere else. I can not another bag, but I can go get busy because I'm cold. And I believe in myself. And so that was the crux of what was going on there, where, Al Saunders wasn't capable of running that offense. So we go into a game with 100 plays. There was a thing where it's like, man, there's 100 plays in the playbook. Man, you don't need no damn 100 plays. That's what we saying in the thing. And the locker room was like, man, why we got 100 plays? They benched Mark Brunell, who was actually a gunslinger, wanting to get the ball spread around. They benched him to play Jason Campbell for whatever political reasons, pressure they was under to play him, drafting him so high. And then the offense was relegated to just throwing the ball to Chris Cooley. That's all that Al could get out of Jason Campbell and that offense. And so that's what we were stuck with, and we was just incredibly disgruntled. I know I was, but I was the one that had the guts to speak out about it.
Right, because I remember you speaking out about it, and this is how I know, with me being so close to you as well as Big Bro Springs and other guys on the team. I knew it was a problem and a function with going on within the organization when you guys used to literally say it was two teams. We're Washington, and they're the Redskins. You know what I mean? Like, the defense used to be like, we're the Redskins, the offense is Washington. Like, literally, that's how you guys were moving, and that's what it was, the culture in the actual locker room and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And because that's the dysfunction, is where the ownership is fooled into hiring this man, Joe Gibbs, who's not concerned with anything but getting money to funnel into his Reds team. He's completely checked out of this team. He's completely checked out. He's in there relying on nostalgia. And, man, that shit ain't going to cut it. Where I'm in there like, man, like, this ain't the 80s. This ain't the 80s. These new
or the
players
early 90s,
like archaic, like early 90s, and trying to treat us like niggas in this motherfucker. Like, stop, man. It was pissing me off.
Right.
The way this man
I can hear it in your voice.
I can hear you. We bring you right back.
No cap. Yeah.
Damn right.
Hey, listen, I know it was brutal. I remember, hey, listen, I was right there with you when you was getting doing the therapy and stuff like that. And I remember you guys talking about, man, we in goddamn OTAs and in mini camps, and he was working y'all as if y'all was in week 2, week 3 of training camp.
We still did the 3 a day under Gibbs. We had 3 practices in training camp. This shit was played out. And I mean, just worn out. So I think that just speaks to the dysfunction
of the
in the front office, where they just brought people in that were just inadequate. They were not prepared to coach at the top level.
Yeah, it's almost I had to bring some people in for show so I can get some people in these seats. Let me show, it's almost like Snyder was saying, hey, let me show that I care about the team. I do. Let me bring Joe Gibbs back. He's such a big in the actual community, right? A big face, a name, whatever, and did so much for the Washington area. Let me bring him back and show the community that I truly care, so I can help bring some people in, even though he might not know shit or what's going on, right? But he is that face, and that he has that face that's going to help pack FedEx Field or whatever the case may be. So it's good that
Snyder actually thought he knew what was going on. Snyder actually thought, that's how ignorant he was. He actually thought Joe Gibbs knew what he was doing.
Wow.
Snyder was trash. Bubba Dub. Dub. Crazy. Obi, what you got for him?
So your stint in Washington, I'm sure you was happy to get out of there. You just expressed your displeasure. Fredro, the only one I know, won't leave them Bammers.
Yeah, we all left him. We left him.
Hey, Brandon, I'm wooden the day I die, bro. I know.
So you leave there, you go to Chicago, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So it was incredibly humiliating to be cut 2 years into a 7-year deal in Washington. Mm-hmm. As a professional, that's not how I envisioned my career going. I envisioned coming out to DC and playing out that 7 years and getting another one, getting another contract, winning games and having success. That's how I envisioned that. It wasn't.
Yes.
It was incredibly humiliating to leave under them circumstances.
Right.
And then Serrato, the GM at the time, tried to 8-ball me.
Oh,
said,
Lord.
"You'll never work in this league again." That's what he told me. He said, "You're finished.
Wow.
You'll never work in this league again."
And it must have been applicable to him because he hadn't been in the league since.
And Ron Turner was the offensive coordinator with the Bears. So he called me on my cell and said, "Brandon, I can't vouch for anything that's been happening out there in DC over these last 2 years. But I told Lovey and the GM that I've known that man since he was 16 years old. I know his parents. That's a good man.
Wow.
So they flew me out to Chicago. I did a workout, and Lovey brings me into the. I did a workout, all good. Lovey brings me into the office. He sits me down. He says, "You got money, right?" I said, "Yeah, I got money." He said, "You just signed a big deal out there in Washington. So you got money, right?" I said, "Yeah, I got money." He says, "So you ain't here for it, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Good. I'm signing you to a veteran minimum deal, 1 year. Any inkling of trouble that you give us, anything remotely close to what I read was going on in Washington, I will cut you. And it won't cost us anything off the cap. We got a deal?"
Wow.
So I shook his hand and took that deal. It was, $895,000, 1 year vet minimum deal for a 7-year cap.
Yeah.
And went to Chicago and had some 175-yard games against Rondé Barber. I was putting up numbers where it's starting to look like, this is the player we always knew. One of the players said that to me on the bench. I was sitting on the bench, man. I was dropping, I was probably at like 150 yards, in the fourth quarter, and I was sitting on the bench, and one of the running backs sat down next to me, hit me on the pads, like, "Man, B, I knew you could do it. This is the player that we always knew you was." And it was just like, because it's just so humbled coming off of that Washington experience. I just wanted to do my thing and play, and then I ended up tearing my PCL in my knee. A few games into that season, and what Lovey told me was, "We're going to rehab you. We're not going to put you on IR, because if they put me on IR, it would guarantee my contract."
Right.
So he said, "We're not going to put you on IR. You're going to rehab, and you'll come back when you're ready." That's what he said to me.
Wow.
And so in the meantime, the media was just piling on. Brandon Lloyd ain't tough. He won't play through pain. He won't play through injury. And no one in the organization is stepping up like, "Man, dude's jacked up. He's in there rehabbing. We're not putting him on IR." Obviously they're not going to say why, but no one had my back. But I'd be sitting in there eating breakfast, and Lovey would come in, pat me on the back, and be like, "Keep it up. Keep up the good work. We'll see you back on the field." And sure enough, I came back, scored a touchdown my first game back late in the season. I think I maybe finished the last two or three games, and they didn't re-sign me. The general manager there said, "How do you think that really went?" "Nah, we're not signing you back." And so that off season when I was in Lake Forest, Illinois. So I was just getting my college credits. I was like, "Man, I think I'm done." I was let's set up a deal with the Big Ten Network, and the producer was like, "Man, we're going to hold off. We're going to hold off just in case you get signed back." I said, "Man, it's already June. No team signed me. Even David Dunn called me. I think it's over, Brandon." I'm like, "Oh, shit." So I'm like, "All right." I said, "No, my agent said it's over." And he's like, "No, we think you might get signed." And so I was like, whatever. So they said, "We'll hold a spot for you, but it'll be in August when we place you." So I was like, "All right." And I got a call from Kyle Orton around in late June, who played with me in Chicago. And he was like, "Man, what kind of shape you in?" He's like, "We could really use you out here." And I've been lifting legs with my dentist, who was a amateur triathlete, and so he's a big Russian Jewish cat, so he got a big old ass, big old legs, big old quads, and so I was powerlifting with him, doing Olympic lifts with him. I was playing basketball on the south side of Chicago with the hip hop community at an all black country club, our rec center. I was rock climbing with my bougie neighbors in Lake Forest. One of the neighbors had turned the nanny quarters into a rock climbing puzzle. So we had mats on the ground and all these puzzles. So I was rock climbing with these chefs, eating charcuterie boards and drinking wine and climbing on these rock puzzles. So I was in this weird kind of shape.
Yeah.
So I flew out to Denver, lit the workout up. I ain't touched the ball in months. Lit the workout up. And so that's how I ended up getting to Denver. And when I got there, Denver, Josh McDaniels said to me, he was like, "Man, do you remember me running your pro day at Illinois?" And I said, "Nah." He says, "Yeah, the Patriots, we ran the Illinois pro day. So I wanted
Wow.
to draft you, but Bill Belichick didn't want you." And so he's like, "So if you can play anywhere remotely close to the way you played your first 3 years in the NFL and when you came out of college, you'll be all pro."
Wow.
No lies detected.
Well, and that's what the fuck happened. Because sure enough,
No lies detected.
no disrespect to Kyle or go get it Campbell. We gonna keep it funky on here because that's what y'all used to call him in the locker room. Go get it Campbell. You don't know
Go
where
get
you gonna throw the ball. And then you mess around in Denver, and not only do you kill and put up you go from a castaway, Washington throwing you away. We don't want him. He can't play no more. To
Mhm.
leading the National Football League in receiving yards from no disrespect to Mr. Orton, but from that ain't Aaron Rodgers. Discount double check. Kyle Orton. Shit.
And Tim Tebow was throwing those strictly
Hey,
from
look.
those two receivers.
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
I
those two
was, and
quarterbacks.
I'm gonna wait to say something about Tim Tebow. I was gonna wait a little second about that, trying to catch it from Tim Tebow, wind up Tebow. You already know our discussions in the weight room where you had to calm me down a couple times when that other guy used to be like, "Hey, Omar, you got to go." I used to be like, "Absolutely not. I'm not training that
Wow.
motherfucker." Yeah. Oh yeah, it got serious, Fredro. Not training him.
Yeah,
Oh.
Nothing about him is genuine to me. Nothing.
right.
All of it is a facade. All of it.
Tell all the viewers and listeners who we talking about.
We talking about Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah. So I'm not
Yeah,
going.
that was-
I'm not going to get into it because he ain't worth our time talking on this no cap show. We talking about
Gotcha.
Mr. Brandon Lord, and we gonna keep it positive, number positive energy. If Leonidas can
sure.
forgive the humpback, who are we not to forgive him, right? We wish him well, nothing but the best in life. He doing his thing on SEC Network. Best of luck to him. But with that being said, I'm telling you that it's guys like Troy Polamalu, it's guys like other guys that are very big in their faith, and they don't have to go run 20 yards downfield to take a knee and such, or whatever the case may be. It's guys that pray. B. Lloyd can tell you about this more than I can. It's guys that pray before every time they go out on the field, every series.
Yeah,
What
and
I'm saying is,
don't need to press to cover it.
don't need the press, don't need the
Mhm.
camera, don't need all that.
Mhm.
If it's genuine and you truly love that man upstairs, then you're gonna do it regardless when nobody's around. So that was,
Now,
and then getting to know him
which is
yeah. Go ahead, B. Go ahead, B.
yeah, which is important. Which is important point because, in Denver, the Mr. B was dying
Okay.
and
Oh.
absent. The
Okay.
president of the team, Joe Ellis, and Elway had inserted themselves in the conversation, thinking that they were supposed to be the rightful owners of the organization. So the organization was in disarray. And as you remember, there were billboards that went up in Denver that said, "Play Tim Tebow. We want
Right.
Tim Tebow." I mean, they were booing the team to
Right.
get Tim Tebow in there. So I mean,
Right.
it was just a huge mistake on Josh McDaniels' part to even draft that cat, thinking
Yeah.
that there was something there. Obviously, there was the Wildcat component because that was just popular in the league.
Of course. Of course.
2009, 2010, it started
Right.
to come on, where
Yes.
Ronnie Brown down in Miami was doing it.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
there was something there. I think Josh underestimated the faith-based community, and they were actually thought he could play.
Right.
The fan base actually thought Tim Tebow could go in there and play like Tom Brady because of Christ or something.
Right.
It just was.
Everybody can
the
see it.
pressure,
Yeah.
the pressure was
it-
insurmountable on the organization. It was
on the
insurmountable,
organization
especially with no
playing, yeah.
true, leadership from the top. You
Right.
couldn't withstand it. So that's why I ended up leaving Denver
Denver. Right.
because we go into that 2011 season, and I'm the only All-Pro Pro Bowl selection. Champ Bailey was an alternate that year.
Wow.
And I was the only selection. And so I'm sitting here with Elway with 1 year left on my deal, and I say, hey, you know, let's renegotiate a deal. I'm willing to stay here. But then in the training camp, they're saying they want to start Tim Tebow. I said, I can't work with that. I can't get busy with him.
Yeah.
And they were trying to
I
make
remember
it out
that
to be a
being
quarterback
I remember that
controversy.
being a big deal in the news.
It was an incredible deal.
It was huge.
No, it was so
huge.
big. And
Right.
and what I came out in the media and said was there is no quarterback competition. Kyle Orton can't do the things Tebow can do, and Tebow can't do the things Kyle Orton can do. So the organization just needs to make a decision and let's roll with it. We're too late in the season to be sitting here with a quarterback competition in the training camp. We can't be doing this. So I came out in the media and said that. And so when it came down to talking about a new contract, they weren't ready to do it. They didn't want to do it at all. And so I sat with John Fox. We got the deal, and then they put me on waivers.
Wow.
So I had my sports agent was Tom Condon at the time.
Condon.
So the Broncos put me on the waivers, and so with the waivers, it's the worst teams get first dibs. And so the first team came in. Tom's like, I got your left tackle. I'll make your life hell if you go after Lloyd. They backed off. Next team came in. I got your starting quarterback. I'll make your life hell if you come in and go for Brandon. They backed off. Insert St. Louis Rams and Josh McDaniels at offensive coordinator. See, he got fired for Denver for doing that New England stuff and recording teams. So he got fired as offensive coordinator with the Rams. Yeah. So I slid over to the Rams. 11 games, 733 yards, like back balling.
He putting you in the slot. He putting you outside. You double move everything. Back
getting busy.
Yeah. Going crazy. Hey, practice against Bartell every day.
Right? No.
Ron was there.
Well, he wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Oh, he wasn't in.
No.
He wasn't in St. Louis then?
No.
Oh, he might have been.
No,
when he was
he was gone by then.
Okay.
That was my first touchdown. Cool. Omar always gave him shit for that because that was my first touchdown catch in the NFL. Was a diving catch in Sports Illustrated. At the double page in Sports Illustrated, when you open it up, Flight 85 catching the touchdown.
Oh, wow.
Martell, and they're running like he was in quicksand. Looked like he was in quicksand.
I'm a boy. I always look, and them boys train together all season. All season. Every time he showed up late or he was tired, I said, man, you ain't trying to be on that Sports Illustrated no more. B. Lloyd running past your ass. That motherfucker was here this morning. And he already gone. He upstairs getting a massage. He done worked out twice already. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. So so after St. Louis is when I went to New England. So my All-Pro year, I usually took a victory lap after every football season. I go hit Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah, pop down to the Super Bowl, get some appearance money. Then I, pop out to LA, hit the ESPYs, pop in Fashion Week in New York. I'm, bouncing around.
Right.
Had my normal loop, then hit Coachella in April. So that was my loop.
Okay.
And after that All-Pro season as a gift, my agent gifted me 2 tickets to the Kentucky Derby. So he gifted me his tickets in Millionaires Row.
I already know.
Wow.
Yeah. So for the listeners, Millionaires Row is the top mirrored glass.
Up top. Okay.
He froze. He come back.
He come
back.
Man, hey, we finding out some crazy information, man. I didn't know.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. Good, great.
Let me see, remove and bring him back. Hold on.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
man.
It's on Millionaire Road, man. That's major.
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby on Millionaires Road.
Look here. Hey, Cobra. I already know who he bumped into when he was there, so that's why I ain't saying. I was gonna let him just go ahead and finish it up. So
hey, he didn't say 1 ticket. He said 2 tickets.
2 of them
tickets. 2 of them joints, man. Yeah, bro. He dropped some bombs, man. You are absolutely right. Oh, I had no clue, man. And thanks for filling us in about the other guy that you had brought up recently, man. I was like, wow.
Man, listen,
Okay,
man.
I always thought that though, bro.
I already know the stories about him.
I always had a clue. Like, you know what, man? Is this genuine? Is this real? Is this fake? Or what? I mean, it's too much over. You know, this is too over the top with it.
Yeah,
but man, you pretty much solidified my thoughts.
No disrespect to anyone. No disrespect to even him him. But just being around him and seeing him his everyday how he work. When it comes to working out, being a worker and working out and doing whatever the case may be, I tip my hat to him. Monster. Worked out crazy. Did his thing, showed up on time. Can't take that, you know what I'm saying? You know, away from him. But with that being said, come on, bro. Like,
yeah.
He said some things to me personally, one-on-one, that I was just like, huh?
Wow,
like,
wow, man.
Bro.
Wow.
It was unfortunate, but yeah, man. I know getting to know those things about B. Lloyd, man, and some of those things, whatever, like the thing with the Josh McDaniels and behind the scenes and stuff like that. A lot of times, that's what I try to tell you guys. Sometimes it's not about the coach or this or whatever the case may be. I mean, sometimes it's not about the scheme or something like that or whatever. Sometimes it's about a coach truly, genuinely having an interest in you as a person and knows that you are a good person and they want to see you do well. And they want to do whatever they can to put you in a position to do well. And that's all it does.
100%.
Hey, bro, let me ask y'all this. I mean, why you? I'm pretty much going to transition into what you just said, right? So, like, Chase Young got traded yesterday, right? Yeah. And Montez Sweat got traded as well.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that has been critical of Chase Young. Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this. You are a football savant. Is Chase Young? I guess what inadequacies? Is it a product of him himself or the system that he's in? Or what is it?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think he's going to do an excellent job also by leaving and getting away from this area. It's hard to play. It's hard to be home and play at home. It's hard to be home and play at home. It's so much stuff that behind the scenes that you have to deal with. You know, right. It's hard to play home. And then also he sometimes, you know, when you get so much success, right? You get that success and you get certain people around you telling you that your shit don't stink, and you mess around and you have 7.5 sacks your rookie year. It's almost like, oh, this shit ain't. But then you mess around and have an injury, right? And then you have to realize, and you have to go back to your roots and realize, like, damn, this is the reason why I'm here is because I put the hard work in and I did such and such and such and such, whatever. And you can't run, and you got to remember, it's a draft every year. Like B. Lloyd was telling us, it's a draft every year. It's new guys coming in. It's a young man that's getting ready to get drafted, a DN that's coming up, and these guys are hungry.
That's right, bro.
I think the best thing is, I think it's going to be a beautiful situation for him to go out there in San Francisco. He's going to get around some dogs. He's going to get around his boy who was his OG when he came to Ohio State. And it's going to make them both better. It's not saying that Sweat wasn't making old boy better or whatever the case may be.
Right.
It's just the culture of winning, right?
Right. Yeah.
Come on, man. It's tough. It's freezing cold here where we at. It's freezing cold where we at. Them people's got a bubble, man.
Yeah.
They just got an air bubble. Back when B. Lloyd was here, they used to have to bus down to Dulles Town Center. Yeah. They used to have to go to Dulles Sports Complex to practice. Can you imagine you being a National Football League, a team in the NFL, and you having to get on a bus like a high school team to go practice, right?
Ain't that some shit?
Now, how am I supposed to work on my craft and my skill set, whatever? Now, obviously, you can bump anywhere, but these are supposed to be some small things, not big things or whatever. So I think him being around that culture in San Francisco, where it's about winning. It ain't about winning a game. No, we want to win the conference. We want to win the NFC. It is nothing else left. Right. We trying to get back to the bowl. and we want to put ourselves in position in the NFC Championship, and there's nothing less. Nothing else. Everything else is unacceptable.
And I agree, bro.
When you have a young man right there beside you and behind you with that linebacker Wagner and them boys coming off that end, and that is the culture, and you going up against Trent Williams every day, and you going up against Trent Williams every day, and you going up against I know personally, I went out to Levi Stadium when this gentleman right here was there, and he embraced my mom, and him and Antoine Bethea, they embraced my mom. It was she tells you to this day, it was one of the best trips she's ever been on. But it was the culture. It is what is expected of us. And so what I'm saying is, when you got a guy like Chase Young, and like B. Lloyd was saying, he dealing with this unfunctional organization, as they still got the same facility as when B. Lloyd was there. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is
but
ridiculous.
I will say this, and then we go ahead and transition back to B. Lloyd. I think it was a great situation for both. I think it was a great move on the organization just to move off from him. Right. And I think that I credit, like I said, the owner for making that move, for stepping in and making that move, because clearly, you're right. We came to an understanding that, you know what, we got to be honest with ourselves. We're not doing nothing with them, so we might as well go ahead and get as much as we can for these two guys, what have you. And we'll just go ahead into rebuild mode, not super rebuild mode, but some type of rebuild mode.
No question. They need Hey, Fredro, I'm gonna be honest with you, and we can go back to B. Lloyd, because I want B. Lloyd to tell a little bit about the finishing that story. But they need to get rid of everybody. The cook. They need to get rid of the kitchen. They need to get rid of the half-court basketball court that's in the facility. They need to redo the floors. They need to get rid of all of it, because it's just not a winning organization. And it all starts from the people in the building. You look at the good organizations, you look at the good football teams, they basketball, whatever the case may be, sports organizations. It's the people that you work with every day. It's the equipment managers that know that B. Lloyd needs this, and this in his bag. It's the equipment manager. It's the physical therapist that's doing extra work. That's saying, hey, B, what do you need for you to go out here and perform? And when you have people that take pride in their work, and it's not just about the check, it's about the pride in my work, that is only going to help the guys that's going out, those 22 guys that's going out there to represent that organization. True.
And I think that's going to happen eventually over time too, with this new ownership group. But yeah,
over time with Magic for sure. Magic ain't
absolutely, you ain't playing that. But yeah.
So B. Lloyd, we was talking about the Chase Young thing, man. Sorry about that. But before we get out of here, we got a couple more questions for you. But we really want to ask you. We wanted you to finish that story about the Josh McDaniel thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So. The Kentucky Derby.
Right.
When I got down to the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
I'm in the Turf Club, and the Turf Club is more for the high net worth individuals that attend the Kentucky Derby. So it's under the paddock, it's covered, it's indoor, outdoor component to it, but it's completely VVIP. And so I'm sitting in there hanging out with my date, and Deion Branch walks up to me. And he says, hey, man, what's up? And I'm like, oh, Deion, my guy. And so we kind of reminiscing about playing each other. Louisville played Illinois. We reminiscing. Right. Oh, man, this and that. And he's like, hey, man, all bullshit aside, Tom wants to talk to you. Tom Brady. So Tom Brady, that's his loop. Is he take a pack of teammates down to the Kentucky Derby on the private plane, and then they go hang out. It's on a guy's trip. And so I'm like, all right. So he walks me out to Tom Brady, and I mean, it's like he's standing outside. He's got a Bose beatbox. He's got a Bose pill playing gangster rap music in between the races. Like, there's a certain amount of minutes in between each horse race. And so in between, I mean, they got gangster rap music playing. It's him, it's Welker, Logan Mankins, a few of his Goldman Sachs buddies. Over there hanging out. So I'm walking out there, and it's like, this is like long hair Tom Brady. So he had the fedora on with the long hair flicking out underneath it. I mean, fucker had an aura around him. I mean, he got the Tom Ford seersucker suit on. I mean, I was just like, holy shit, man, this dude is the flyest fucker on earth. He is fly.
Right.
And
Right.
so I walk over to him, and he's like, "B Lord, what's up, man?" Gives me a hug, cheek to cheek, as if like he's known me for years. He's like, "Man, great to finally meet you in person." I'm like, "Man," he's like, "Can we just get to the point?" I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "Well, man, I would like to play with you." He's like, wouldn't you like to come play with me?" And I said, "You know it." He said, "Well, you're gonna have to get out of that contract because Bill won't trade for you." So I'm like, "All right." He was like, "Do you think you can make that happen?" I said, "You can make it happen."
Wow.
Is that it?
Damn.
That's it. So I kicked it with him for the rest of the weekend. Went back to Denver, and then right there before the trade deadline, I got that trade to St. Louis. Finished out the last year of my contract that the Broncos would negotiate for, and then I fast tracked right to New England to play with Tom.
Wow. Damn, B. That's a
Mhm.
great story, bro.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
That's a great story, man. That's a
Yeah.
great story. And then
Yeah,
you got,
so,
and then
you know,
for the
didn't get a
last,
ring.
y'all about to say you didn't get the ring though. You got a ring? Y'all didn't get one. Not
Close.
that
No.
year.
Close.
Yeah, I lost to Baltimore in the AFC Championship.
In New England. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
What year was that?
2012.
2012.
Yeah, that's when I think that's when they played San Francisco in the Super Bowl.
That's right. Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. That's
Damn,
amazing.
that's crazy.
That's a crazy
But you had a
story.
spectacular season though.
I had a really good season. Yeah, being the fourth option, you know, behind Welker, Gronk, Aaron Hernandez, and then myself. I still put up over 700 yards.
Playing with Aaron Hernandez, could you ever like just how was he real quick? Could you give us a quick like how was he as a person? Could you give us something on that?
Good question,
I mean,
bro.
I
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
Rest in peace.
he's incredibly disturbed.
Okay.
When I got there, Wes Welker and I had the same agent when I got to New England, and Wes walked up to me and was like he seen a ghost. This is my first day in the locker room. He's like, "Brandon, your locker's in between Aaron and Gronk. He's gonna talk about fucking his mom. He's
What?
gonna talk about anal sex.
What the
getting
fuck?
fucked in the ass. He's gonna dry his balls off in front of you while you're sitting on your stool. All we do here is ignore it.
cap.
Just ignore it." I was like,
God damn.
"All right,
So
thanks
God.
for telling me."
so
Sure
he was really
Wow.
sick in the head for real.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that wasn't
Yeah,
that was real, huh? Yeah,
that
Yeah, he's
shit.
sick.
That was definitely no cap.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no kid for real.
So one of the questions. So you play there, then you get an opportunity to go back to where it all started.
Mhm.
49.
Yeah.
How was that, man? Finishing up, playing with the Niners and stuff like that, and how
It
was
was
that? How was that?
it wasn't so hot, It wasn't so hot. Just the
Way to keep that shit foggy, man. Way to keep that shit real.
yeah, it wasn't so hot. My last 5 years in the league, I've been working in the off seasons in aerospace sales.
Right.
So,
Wow.
so as soon as the season was over, I had the foresight and know I wanted to get into business and realized my maturity was incredibly stunted by being in the locker room for so long.
Right.
So I had this opportunity to work in sales and aerospace. And it was the first business proposition where someone was offering to pay me money to get into business with them. And so
Nice.
it really gave me an opportunity to get in the business world, see behind the curtains of a small business, and then just get out and do business travel and work with executives and be in that realm. And so, after I finished that New England season, I went to Europe for about 3 weeks, took some time off, decompressed, and I came back. I was like, man, I want to take a break from NFL. So I went and I picked up my aerospace gig full time because he would give me a leave of absence to play in the NFL. So I'm doing my aerospace sales, and my music manager calls. I have a hip hop catalog.
Right.
So my music manager calls like, "Hey, Brandon, sorry, man, but I ran into Trent Baalke. He's the GM for the 49ers at the time. I ran into Trent Baalke at a shindig last night. I brought up your name. They could really use you. And I was like, all right. He said for you to call him. So I called up Trent Baalke, and Trent's like, well, we want to bring you in for the season. Depending on what kind of shape you in, come in here, work out with the trainers here, you know, and we'll see what you got. Like, all right. So Harbaugh calls me. Harbaugh is an incredible recruiter. I'm talking about first class, grade A, hype man.
Nice.
Unstoppable.
Wow.
Unstoppable. Nice. I mean, his wife is from Lee Summit, Missouri. I'm from Blue Springs, Missouri. So it's just right next to each other.
Right.
Okay.
He called me up. I know all about Blue Springs. My wife's from Lee Summit. I mean, he just ties this in and just brings it into this incredibly familial conversation. And then he says, look, Brandon, more is more. Anyone who tells you less is more is lying to you, because there's only one more, and that's more. You come here to San Francisco, we're the New England Patriots of the NFC West. We're in the Super Bowl every year. So you come back here, you're going to get more wins. You're going to put up more numbers. You're going to get $1 million more because you're going to make the team. You're going to be on the veteran minimum. You get $1 million more. And I see you in the business world, so you're going to come here and you're going to be associated with more winners. So it's only going to help you. There's only more associated with coming here to the 49ers, Brandon. More is more. He gives me this whole more is more talk. I'm like, shit, man.
Wow.
I'm there. I'm
Yeah.
coming out there.
I'm ready to sign.
I'm coming out there.
Oh,
So
man.
I did, and the receiver room was packed with Crabtree, Bolden, Stevie Johnson, and then myself.
Right.
And then they had a couple. They had two rookies, low-paid cats that was out there, trying to get it.
Right.
And so it was us four who was very established players, and then we had Colin Kaepernick, who didn't know the difference between cover 2 and cover 0. Now for your listeners, cover 2 is all out zone. Nobody's blitzing. Cover 0 is all out blitz.
Yep.
There's only 3 guys in coverage in the back. Now, to the untrained eye, they can look the same.
Facts.
Defenses can mask them to where they look the same. So they would do that to him, and he didn't know the difference.
Wow.
So he'd literally be in a National Football League game, looking to slide at Anquan Bolden and say, what do I got? And Bolden to tell him the coverage, and then guess who got the ball?
Anquan.
Oh, it was incredibly infuriating. I mean, there's just a lot of frustration around the way Harbaugh had built that team, because he had hyped the players up so much and they were doing so much winning. But it came money time. They had linebackers, Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis. They had all these cats that was balling. And Harbaugh chose the organization, and Harbaugh chose to pay the money to Kaepernick when we all knew he was not capable of being a high-performing quarterback.
Right.
He'd show up, he'd be I'd pull up to practice and he'd be out there pulling sleds. I'm like, fam, I don't need you pulling sleds. I need you in this film room understanding the defenses. I need you in there working on your throwing mechanics. I don't need you pulling sleds. See, he in his mind thinking he's going to run all over the league like it was his first 2 years. Fam, you got to be a pocket quarterback now. Once you get to that
people already
in the league,
we adjusted, right? We adjust.
You got to be a pocket passer. You got to know the defenses and read and react off that. And he just couldn't do it. And so there wasn't enough balls to go around. Harbaugh lost control of the team because he wasn't holding Kaepernick accountable for being a passing quarterback. And so we were relegated to this like BS kind of offense. We couldn't really establish a run game. And then Harbaugh got himself in so much trouble with the politics in the locker room. He said, peace, took that $40 million to go to Michigan and left that junk high and dry.
Yeah.
So
what do you do?
So I got a little busy. I posterized some players on, in that.
I'm about to say you caught a couple. Yeah, you did.
For 89 yards on the Rams, and I still have some in the tank.
Right.
And so that was what was tough. But at that stage of my career, I just didn't feel like I was in the mood anymore to pretend like there was
Yeah.
a competition with me
Right.
and
And
these other players.
your conscious level has always been crazy, like
Yeah.
over the top, and like the shit that we used to be into, moving around, joking in the
Right.
locker room. You would come in there in a tank top and Uggs in 100-degree weather and be like, I'm perfectly fine. You guys can wear Jordans. It doesn't even matter. Like my conscious level can't even relate to you, some of you guys right now. So you can do what you want to do and it doesn't matter. I always go to win, you know? I love
Thanks,
that
bro.
about you. You was always yourself. That was awesome.
Well,
Oh,
appreciate it.
you asked us a quick question. We got a couple more questions before we get out of here. You actually
Yeah,
asked us a question,
I
and I
did.
wanted Kobe and Fredro to talk a little bit about it. About B. Lloyd wanted to know what was our thoughts about prime time being in Colorado.
Well, I wanted y'all to start with y'all experience with him in the SWAC, or is it called the SWAC anymore?
Yeah, it's
Southwest
called the
Athletic
SWAC.
Conference.
Well,
Yeah.
I can talk a little bit about that with
Let's talk
me
about
being at HBCU. I don't tell people that.
Right.
Only people I do. Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Howard University player, whatever. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I think he did what he was supposed to do. He came in, he brought a lot of notoriety to a lot of the defaults and a lot of the problems that's with HBCUs and just small schools in general. He provided a platform for the guys. Now, what I wish he would have did was say, "Hey, look, I'm here not for a long time, but I'm here for a short time, and I'm gonna try to do everything I possibly can instead of saying, hey, you know, come here and be different and be a 5-star kid and come to a HBCU, whatever." Well, still have that same type of attitude because the first thing you did when you went to Colorado is you took Travis Hunter with you. Well, if it's all about HBCUs, then why not tell Travis Hunter to stay at Jackson State and I'll go get another young man? Okay. So that was my whole thing or whatever. But I once again, I like what Dion is doing, but I Dion to me is always must be the money, right? And that's his thing or whatever the case may be. But I do like him shining a light on the problems and some of the stuff that goes on in the HBCUs and things like that or
right.
whatever. But as far as him being a pillar in the HBCU community and such, nobody what the guy told him at halftime when they he had the little scuffle like you not swag, that was very true. Because one thing about those HBCU coaches, they truly, because of the lack of resources, because of the lack of, they really live and die by those opportunities that those coaches get, man, and that's very, very important to them. So, you
Mm,
know,
Right.
it is what it is.
yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem, no problem. I would have
Yeah.
never went there. I wouldn't went play for him. 'Cause to me, he like a car salesman. You know what I mean? Like he's selling me a used car. Man, everybody went, that shit is broke. You trying to sell me a used car with the transmission messed up. I don't care what's on the outside if the transmission is messed up. The fuck are
Yeah.
you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see him at Colorado for too long as well. I really don't. I see him
Same.
going somewhere in the SEC within the next year or two.
yeah,
That soon.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's him.
I
That
think once his
What's
sons
his
get out
sons?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he might stay around a little bit longer. I think he might stay around a little bit longer because of obviously because of the revenue, obviously that he's created there is, I mean, it has to be crazy, and all the people that's going out there and just whatever. I think that's awesome for the University of Colorado. But with that being said, I think
Enjoy it while it lasts.
there you go.
right.
Yeah.
But you gotta ask yourself, oh, how long with the Pac? Yeah, because the Pac-10, I mean, they're pretty much done. You got what, USC, Oregon,
Yeah, they're going
UCLA,
to
and
the Big
Washington
12.
moving over to the
They,
Big 12.
yes, yeah. CU's be going to the Big 12, and then Oregon, UCLA going to the Big 10.
The Big
Big
10.
Ten,
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah. So that might make him want to stay. I mean, you never know, but I just don't have him staying in Colorado. I truly believe if Florida State wasn't doing so well, I truly believe that that's his ultimate job to get down in Florida or maybe back
Right.
home in the Texas
Right.
area where he,
Yeah,
where
even though
you
he
know,
don't acknowledge Florida State, he don't even acknowledge them.
right? I know
He
because
don't
of
even, which is
because of the
wild.
situation. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think to me the whole coach's son thing dynamic, it just makes my skin crawl.
Right.
It takes it all the way back to little league and
Mm-hmm.
high school. It's just high school garbage.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, we've never seen this before. Where the coach's son is the quarterback and Power 5 sports I think it's just like unheard of.
Right.
Yeah.
And
but
there's
we're
no
also-
knock on. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, below. There's no knock on Shedeur. I think the young man can play. I think he can throw it around. Having a mentor like Tom Brady is awesome. But he also would have had to holler at me because of understanding. I understand NIL and business and
Yeah.
corporate, doing your thing. But you can't tweet something at halftime when we getting our ass kicked by UCLA. You got to holler at me. You
Fact.
now,
No,
so
and-
you
but that's
tweeted
my
at
point.
halftime,
No,
right? So you
no, but
tweeted
that's
at
my point.
halftime.
There's
Yeah.
a problem, but
That's
there's a
what I'm
problem
saying.
there. Is
Right.
that it wasn't even that. That happened the week before in Stanford when they was blowing
I
the
mean,
team
at
out.
Stanford,
He's
I
selling
apologize.
merchandise.
Right.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
selling merchandise at halftime. But the
Mhm.
coach don't address
Hold
that.
him
See,
accountable. He doesn't hold his son accountable.
thank you.
Yeah.
What he
And
say?
be
What he
Lloyd.
say? What he say when Shedeur gets sacked? Somebody
It's
ain't
offensive
open.
line.
Somebody ran the wrong route.
Somebody
Yep.
ran the wrong route.
He just said the other day, we gonna get a
Yeah.
whole new offensive line.
You see what he
For my
did?
boy.
He just threw his
For my
offensive
son.
line under the bus.
Yeah.
Right. And
So that's the thing. So how am I as a player? So here it is, my coach, and it's cool to be called out. I've been called out. We all played sports. We all been benched. If you ain't never been benched or you ain't never been cut, you ain't been fortunate enough to play this beautiful thing called sports. If you play long enough, you gonna get benched. If you play long enough, you gonna get cut. So my thing is I don't have a problem with someone, but hold him accountable. That's
That's
all. That's all you
But
get.
this is that high school junk, just that high school junk, little league junk that these college athletes is dealing with. Who gonna want to come here and back that up and back him up? No one in their right mind gonna want to come to that school this next year, you know. But the other issue that I have with Prime is I feel like his intentions are good. He's well-meaning.
Yes.
But there's a reason why Power 5 coaches fly so under the radar because of these ups and downs. He's so out there with it. He's spilling the beans on everything. The TV show recording everything. People are paying attention to that. And people are watching that and getting the clues on what's going on with this team. It's not there's a reason why coaches are more secretive and don't reveal so much in the post-game interviews. It's like he's like on MTV Real World after every game. He's in the confessional.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like Prime, like shut up with all this.
Stop. He can't help himself.
He can't help himself. Right?
Yeah.
So I think
Meanwhile, Coach Saban in Alabama, like, you go, y'all can go ahead and have that. take all the pressure away from us, for real. Y'all go ahead, keep talking.
And we just gonna keep stacking, and Alabama just keep stacking wins. And now that quarterback is playing better, and now he's getting more repetitions, and he's playing better. But the one thing Nick Saban did was hold him accountable. Oh, you don't want to make the right reads? Your ass is on the bench. We gonna play this other kid. Oh, you don't want to make the right reads? Now your ass is on the bench, and we gonna play this other kid. We gonna find out who's been doing the work, not only on the football field, but who's been doing the work in the classroom to go out and be successful. And more importantly, you go out there and lead men.
And I'm not going to talk about it in the media.
Yeah,
this is internal.
Exactly.
We're going to sort this out.
Less is more.
That's right.
Less is more.
I mean, I like the notoriety he brought to Colorado, and I think he's going to generate some high-level recruits to come in there now because they see the culture that he brought there. They see all the cool people coming to the games. They're like, oh, wow, I want to be a part of that. I get to meet this rapper or this actress or so forth and so forth. So that's attractive to a young high school guy that's looking at that like, I definitely want to be a part of that.
Yeah, but Cobra, at the end of the day, man, it comes down to guns and butter, wins and losses. You understand what I'm saying? You can talk your way through it all you want to. It's about wins and losses. All that other shit, it looks good or what have you, but it's only temporary. It comes down to wins and losses, guns and butters.
It does, but you got to remember this, Fredo. I think if they didn't start off the season being TCU, we wouldn't have these expectations for them in the first year
It
because he's
wasn't.
already exceeded expectations, I believe.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't we. That's another one of my points about primetime. He did it. He
Yeah,
was the one that said, "We ain't coming. We here now." He
yeah,
did that.
yeah,
So how can you turn around and say after you get your butt kicked, "Oh, they think we arrived"? No, you said they arrived.
Yeah,
Prime
Put that out
time.
there.
You're the one to put this in their minds. I mean, them
right,
boys is out there acting like a bunch of spoiled brats. I
right,
mean, the watch thing, like, come on, it's just not
I ain't like
classy.
that.
And then
right.
and then when you talk about Travis Hunter and Dion's response to that, Dion had to react the way he reacted. This is football. That thing happened because Dion is the one who got Travis Hunter hurt.
fact.
He's the one after the first game talking
Damn,
about, oh, we got a
160
Heisman
snaps.
winner. He gonna get a Heisman. You know what players are saying? Oh, dog, I got your fucking Heisman.
Listen,
I
I
got your
said
Heisman.
that perfect. I said that, and I stand on that. People say, Omar, would you have wanted to use good corner, good little, I did my thing, whatever. Would you have wanted to play for Dion? I said, absolutely fucking not. I would have loved to play in the conference against his ass, and I would have loved to play against Travis Hunter, and I would have loved, if I was on offense, I would have loved to go against Shador, and I would have routed the shit out his ass, because one thing he can't do is cover. Now, he can come
Hmm.
downhill, and he put his face in the fan, and he will hit you,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
he is a liability
he's
in
slow.
coverage. No question about it. And I
Right.
would have loved to play against Dion. Every time I would have checked one of them receivers and strapped and threw his ass on the sideline, I would have let him know. Be right back. You did
Right?
this. This is your fault. This is
Yeah.
the reason because you want to talk shit and you want to act like they. So I'm gonna show you get what it is and whatever the
But
case may be.
but these is life lessons.
Yeah,
Coming from being a professional athlete. As a professional athlete, you can't be out in Chocolate City with all the jewelry on, putting it all in
Absolutely
people's
not.
face like that. You can't do that to people. That's not.
No.
That's not.
Nah.
It's not right to do that to the
No.
public and do that to people. And that's why you see in UCLA they got their shit took.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are lessons,
They
man.
got- yeah.
You can't do
Yeah,
that
man.
to people.
You're
can't,
drawing too much attention to yourself.
you can't
Yeah.
be doing that in
Yeah.
places. And so, Dion is well-meaning and well-intentioned, but he's teaching these kids some hard lessons. They learning the hard way, and he's throwing these kids under the bus. And that's what's so frustrating to look at as I'm watching all this unfold here in Colorado.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's frustrating. So yeah, that's my
Yeah,
report
whatever. But
from
with
Colorado
that,
for y'all.
it's all love. But with that being said, I truly wish him. I wish him. I
Me
wish
too.
him. I hope. I'm rooting for the kids, man. I'm rooting for those kids. I'm rooting for his son as well as I think it was some bullshit that he got kicked out of the UCLA game. I think that was the clean hit. I mean, you don't want him to hit his legs, right? So I think he turned his shoulder and hit him with his shoulder pad or whatever the case may be. But hey, what can you do, right?
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I
It
think
is
it's
what
more
it is.
dangerous to go low in those situations.
Facts.
For the catcher. And
Yeah.
so it's almost like, going to the midsection, you could really jack somebody up. Going
Yeah.
to the knees, that was happening for a while. That's how Gronk got jacked up in New
Jacked
England.
up.
Catcher
Yeah.
was just going straight for the knees. So
Mm.
I think it's like and it's happened in the pros, even at the Broncos game. Jackson got tossed out of the Commanders game.
Right.
Got
Yep.
tossed out of
Yeah,
Commanders
for hitting
game
low
for a
Yeah,
hit
for
that
the low
was
hit.
shoulder. It was a similar kind of shoulder hit where the guy's
Right.
catching the ball, turning into a hit.
Yeah.
How's a player going to come off that? Or
And
hurt
and then
themselves
people
not
don't
trying to
people
hit?
yeah, and people fail to realize Kareem Jackson, he a 5'9". He came out of Alabama. He's been a solid player for a very long time. He's a physical player, and he 5'9".
And Logan Thomas
What
6'6".
the fuck you want him to do when he hitting Logan Thomas, who's 6'3", such and such, looking like a power forward basketball player? So
Yep.
what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Well, look, hey, Brandon, let me tell you something, man. It was an absolute honor and pleasure to have you on, man. We definitely appreciate you vibing with us tonight, man. For real.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Anytime
sorry,
I get
sorry
the
we went over
opportunity
sorry we went over the limits and stuff. We went over the time, man. But
No, not at all.
Well worth it.
No, I think it's important that to get back and reconnect out there in Chocolate City. So I appreciate y'all giving me the forum because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know me personally and just have that experience with me out there in Washington. So
And
I
they don't
really
know your
appreciate
story.
Oh no, I'm
you
gonna
More
opening
stop
up
this.
your
importantly, they
audience
You
didn't
to
know.
good?
me.
More importantly, they didn't know your story. And
That's it.
that's the one thing that we do here at the No Cap Sports Show. We let people tell their story from their side, and then we put it out there so that way they can see the content and things like that. Because your story is what's important to us. And with that being said, I hate to do this, but I want to tell our listeners and tell my fellow guests real quick a story about Brandon Lloyd with me. And I'm sorry if I get a little choked up, but I don't give a fuck because I'm me. So I used to be around my big brother Sean Springs a lot, or whatever the case may be. We would go to Arizona, we would go here, there, or whatever the case may be. And I used to be when I wasn't playing in my season, I actually would be with one of the actual trainers of the guys, or whatever the case may be. They used to work with Mr. Lloyd. And when B. Lloyd came to Washington, Sean Springs had just signed with Washington. I think either the year before, right before, actually the same year, I think. And we all was sort of, they all was trying to get, figured it out and get the area or whatever the case may be. So I spent a lot of time with B. Lloyd and got a chance to know him. And I was still playing up in the Canadian Football League as well. So I would disappear, come back or whatever. And B. Lloyd would follow my career. And when I got into the training aspect of things, people sort of looked at me crazy, like, well, wait a minute, Omar, you was just working out with us. Now you're here trying to train us. And motherfuckers used to be like, oh, I'm good on, I ain't. But um, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate
Wow.
you, B, because you was one of the few guys. And when they seen you, like, man, they like working with, I'm working with, you know what I mean? That sort of set the precedent. I mean, the precedent for other guys to start working with me and working out with me as well. And then I became that dude, and everybody wanted to train with
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But how you always accepted me, even when I was up top in the Canadian Football League, or I was just, people thought I was some type of flunky just hanging around fucking Springs. I don't know why. You know what I mean? You know, but you always treated me as an equal. You always showed me love. You always asked me what you did for my mom when my mom came out, man. Just showed her, embraced her, gave her a hug. And I can't put a price tag on that, brother. And I just want to tell you to your face, man, I love you. I appreciate you, man. And that's something I will never ever forget. So that's why it was important for me to have you on here, because those type of things, man to man, Joe, like I appreciate that, because you know what I'm talking about, in those type of things or whatever the case may be. And
I
that
felt
shit,
that. I felt that
sometimes
shit.
sometimes that shit was a little tough for your boy, or whatever. When the guys is, whatever on me, and you always was like, nah, fuck that. I'm with y'all can go ahead and train with this person or that person. But
Mhm.
I appreciate you,
You,
man.
you're welcome, Mo. And I
Wow.
worked with you because you were damn good. You're good. You are a good trainer. I mean, and the other part about it though is you had a whole psychological component that I didn't have. See,
Mm.
I grew up. I was a nice guy. I was nice, except for when I got on the field. But you were putting in positivity and strength and confidence in me when I was at my lowest point. Here I am, thinking I'm going to start excelling, and then I get to Washington. I'm getting benched. The media's crushing me, and you were the one telling me, nah, that ain't it. This is who you are. And so
Yes,
it
sir.
was like being in that weight room with you and training with you. You know, that's why I love you. You're
Yeah.
the one who kept me out from
Mm.
circling that toilet bowl. You kept me out of that. You kept me confident in myself. I knew I had it, and I just needed to keep working at it and working at it until I had another chance, and I can have that. That's what I always say now when I'm speaking to young people, or I'm speaking on podcasts. My success in 2010, that was the point when effort and opportunity met.
Wow.
I
Mm.
was in there putting in the effort. I was giving the effort. The effort. Even when I wasn't on the field was when I was in there training with you and the
Yeah, no
team.
doubt.
I was
No
putting in the
doubt.
effort. So when the opportunity came, I could get it, and I did. So back at you, brother, man.
Salute, brother.
Salute.
Appreciate you, man. You already know. Sorry about that. No Cap Sports Show. Not that I care about what y'all think. I'm cool.
Nah, man.
Sometimes the love is the love. And
That's real man. That's real man shit.
Hey, we get that sweet water. I get them out back wings.
That's grown man shit. That's grown man shit.
Oh man. Oh, go ahead, Fred Joe Cole, man. Y'all lost me, bro. I'm out of here, bro. Go ahead.
Go ahead, take us. Yeah, go ahead, take us home, Cobra.
Hey, look, I just want to salute B. Lloyd for coming on the show. You were an amazing guest. You hit us with a lot of jewels. We love the bond between you and my cousin O. And I love hearing those stories, man. Those stories are, they move people, you know what I mean? And they really encourage people to invest in people, you know what I mean? And we appreciate you coming on the show and sharing all of that with us. And with that being said, thank you to the No Cap family for rocking with us again tonight and your continued support and always spreading the news about the show. Keep following us, keep telling your peoples about us, and we're going to be here giving you that heat each and every week. Salute.
There are 4 fouls on the play.
That's why it took so long.
Running into the kicker, number 34 in the kick receiving team. Holding,
Authentic.
number 95 of the receiving team. Personal foul, number 34 of the receiving team.